Wall Street's dark secret: love, greed, and the cold-blooded murder unveiled. In 2019, a chilling murder mystery that had haunted a Wall Street financier family for a decade was finally unraveled. On the morning of December 31, 2009, 9-year-old Anna stumbled upon a horrifying scene. Her mother, 47-year-old Shele Danishefsky-Covlin, lay lifeless in the bathtub. Panic-stricken, she reached out to her father, Roderick Covlin, who resided in a nearby apartment. Shele had initiated divorce proceedings not long before her untimely death, but had arranged for Roderick to live close by to facilitate visits with their children. Roderick promptly called emergency services, seemingly frantic and distraught. He purportedly pulled Shele's body from the water, covered it with a blanket, and attempted resuscitation efforts, albeit futilely. Shele was beyond saving, her face marred with fresh scratches and a deep, bleeding wound on her head, indicative of a violent struggle. A cabinet door above the bathtub hung off its hinges, hinting at the ferocity of the encounter. Roderick put on a show of grief and disbelief, shaking uncontrollably, embracing the responding officers, and repeatedly stating his inability to grasp the grim reality that unfolded before him. A deeper dive into Roderick's background paints a clear picture of the likely perpetrator behind Shele's tragic demise. Roderick, a fledgling trader, lived in the shadow of his wife's successful career as a vice president at a prominent financial firm. The power dynamics within their relationship had shifted, and with the looming divorce, Roderick faced the potential loss of financial stability and a lavish lifestyle, providing a potent motive for murder. As investigators peeled back the layers of their tumultuous relationship, a sinister plot began to emerge. Roderick's facade of a grieving husband started to crumble, revealing a man capable of extreme deceit and violence. The investigation, reignited a decade later, brought to light damning evidence that pointed to a premeditated act of brutality, a desperate attempt to retain control and secure a financial foothold in the face of a crumbling marriage. In this gripping narrative, we delve deep into a case that held the Wall Street community in its grip for years, unraveling the intricate web of lies, greed, and betrayal that culminated in a shocking crime. Join us as we explore the dark secrets that lurked behind the facade of a seemingly affluent and happy family, and the relentless pursuit of justice for a woman whose life was cut tragically short. Roderick had been floundering in his attempts to carve out a successful career, unashamedly relying on his wife's substantial income and frequently borrowing money from his parents to maintain his lifestyle. His professional life was marked by long periods of unemployment, during which he indulged in various hobbies and pursued extramarital affairs with little discretion. In the time leading up to the impending divorce, Roderick's infidelity escalated to alarming levels. He was known to have been involved with scores of mistresses, juggling relationships with nearly 24 women simultaneously. His social media activity, particularly on Facebook, painted the picture of a man engrossed in a relentless pursuit of romantic liaisons, engaging in conversations with hundreds of women, seemingly in search of his next conquest. This reckless behavior not only strained his marriage but also cast a shadow of suspicion on him following Shele's death. His blatant disregard for the sanctity of marriage, coupled with his financial dependence on his wife, made him a prime suspect in the investigation that reopened a decade later. As the case unfolded, it became evident that Roderick's insatiable appetite for affairs and his failure to establish a stable career were more than just signs of a troubled individual. They were indicative of a man spiraling out of control, driven by greed and a desperate need to uphold a facade of wealth and success, even if it meant resorting to the most heinous of crimes. Join us as we delve deeper into this twisted tale of lust, deceit, and murder, unraveling the dark secrets that led to the tragic end of a woman who once held a prominent position in the world of finance, and the relentless pursuit of justice that sought to bring her killer to account. Shele had initiated the divorce proceedings when Rod openly expressed his desire for an open relationship. Following their separation, she confided in her relatives that she feared retaliation from him and was contemplating paying him off to avoid any potential harm. Her fears were not unfounded. Rod embarked on a campaign to sabotage her life, going to the extent of falsely informing her employers that she was involved in drug abuse. He would secretly visit her apartment to snoop through her text messages and emails, violating her privacy and personal space. In a shocking turn of events, he accused Shele of molesting their 3-year-old son, an allegation that not only threatened to tarnish her reputation but also put her relationship with her child at risk. However, a medical examination refuted his claims, exposing him as a slanderer. This led to a court order restricting him from meeting his son unsupervised and maintaining a safe distance from Shele. As the year 2009 drew to a close, Shele took a decisive step to protect her financial assets from falling into Rod's hands. On December 29th, she formally requested her attorney to remove Rod from her will. According to the existing document, he stood to inherit $2 million and a substantial insurance payout in the event of her death. Shele intended to amend the will to ensure that her fortune, amounting to $4 million, would be bequeathed solely to her children, leaving Rod with nothing. A meeting to finalize this change was scheduled for January 1, 2010, a meeting that tragically never took place. Instead, on that fateful New Year's Day, Shele's lifeless body was handed over to the coroner for examination. The autopsy revealed disturbing signs of a struggle, including 4 coin-sized bruises on her right wrist and a significant contusion on her index finger. Despite these alarming findings, her parents forbade a full autopsy due to religious reasons. In a baffling oversight, the authorities ruled her death as an accident, neglecting to conduct a thorough investigation at the scene for fingerprints, DNA samples, or other potential evidence that could shed light on the circumstances surrounding her demise. Just 2 days later, Shele was laid to rest, leaving behind a cloud of unanswered questions and a family grappling with the loss of a beloved mother and daughter. Join us as we unravel the intricate web of deceit, betrayal, and greed that marked the final chapters of Shele's life. A tale that serves as a chilling reminder of the dark corners of human nature and the lengths some are willing to go to satisfy their sinister desires. Soon after Shele's death, her family began recalling suspicious details that preceded the tragic event. For instance, Shele had undergone a keratin hair straightening treatment just a day before her death, a procedure that required her to avoid wetting her hair for 3 days. Moreover, it was well known among her acquaintances that Shele had a preference for showers over baths, adding another layer of doubt to the circumstances of her death. Additionally, Shele had confided in her sister about her escalating fears of Rod, mentioning his deep-seated hatred for her. In April 2010, the family consented to the exhumation of Shele's body, paving the way for a more thorough investigation into her death. The forensic examination revealed damning evidence that Shele had been strangled, shifting the focus squarely onto Rod as the prime suspect. The motive was glaringly apparent. Rod had learned of Shele's intentions to disinherit him, prompting him to take drastic measures to secure his financial future. However, convicting him based on circumstantial evidence and suspicions was not feasible. The breakthrough in the case came in 2015, spearheaded by one of Rod's mistresses, Deborah Olays. Following a fallout with Rod, Deborah approached the police with a shocking revelation. Rod had confessed to her about murdering Shele and his subsequent attempts to manipulate her will in his favor. Furthermore, it was discovered that 2 years earlier, Rod had fabricated a confession letter, which he stored on his daughter's phone. The letter falsely implicated the young girl in her mother's death, claiming that a heated argument had led to her pushing Shele, causing her to fall and die in the bathtub. Rod hoped that this deceitful narrative would exonerate him from the heinous crime. Armed with this substantial evidence, the authorities arrested Rod in November 2015. Despite the mounting evidence against him, he maintained his innocence. The case finally went to trial in 2019, where a jury heard testimonies from the first responders to the crime scene, forensic experts, Shele's relatives and acquaintances, and Rod's mistresses, including Deborah Olays. Despite pleas from his children to lessen the sentence, the judge remained unmoved. Rod was found guilty and sentenced to life imprisonment, bringing a semblance of justice to Shele and her grieving family. Join us as we delve deeper into this harrowing tale of greed, deceit, and betrayal, unraveling the twisted path that led to the downfall of a man consumed by his sinister desires and the relentless pursuit of justice that finally brought him to account.